What up, YouTube Nation? I'm your host Orion, and this is my co-host Timothy, and we'll be breaking down what went on at the Tilley Church Cemetery. So beware, because spoilers are ahead. So, first things first, we went to Tilley during the day to see all that it had to offer before the nighttime. We noticed upon arrival an odd, eerie feeling soon as we stepped foot on the land. Not only that, but the boarded up windows and doors gave it an even creepier vibe. It was just strange.
When we headed back to the campsite, a large copperhead was blocking our path, and we took this as a sign that whatever is at Tilley Church Cemetery wasn't finished with us. As the legends go, Tilley's ghost or something else often chases you out of the cemetery after making you fearful. Whether or not it's true, it's hard not to be spooked with all the sounds that go on during the night.
And that leads us into when we returned to Tilley. It was evident the feeling we had in our gut was back, one of sadness, and our minds were disoriented by the tragedy that befell the land. When we got there, we noticed once pointing our spotlight toward the church entrance, it would flicker. As we got closer, it seemed like the spotlight was draining the bulb above the door to the church. Now, as odd as that seems, I imagine there's a scientific explanation that would be the reasoning for that, and we could debunk that odd encounter entirely.
Upon reaching the tree where Elizabeth and Mary was rumored to be hung after being proclaimed a witch, we feel like we're being watched by some unseen force, perhaps lurking in the woods. Around this time, we found the tombstone to be broken, which was nerve-wracking in itself.
Now, for off-the-record purposes, we were there earlier in the day and the tombstone was undamaged. Though we were unaware it was Elizabeth's gravestone at the time, so for it to be broken when we headed back at 3 a.m. suggests someone was there after us who vandalized the cemetery grounds, which we obviously strongly condone against, as it is wrong and does not benefit anyone to be destroying anything that is old or historic or not your own property. We want the audience to understand that the only way for us to be able to explore abandoned places and historical sites is if they are left untouched and kept intact for other explorers. So again, we strongly disagree with vandalism.
Moving on, whether the legends are true about Elizabeth being hung from the tree or not, the place gives off a very sleepy, hollow vibe like no other. Around the tree, if you're quiet long enough, we heard what seemed like wrestling, like people running around in the woods. Sometimes even like they are charging straight towards you, having you brace for impact.
The saddest part of this gruesome tale is all the unmarked infant graves that fill up the cemetery that alone leaves you drained while roaming the site. Our equipment started acting up after a few sessions while asking Tilley if she was still there. Soon after, our equipment failed us, and once we swapped the dead batteries for new ones, even after a few minutes, they also would die. Even our LED lamp seemed to be completely malfunctioning the rest of the night. You would think the feeling of being grabbed by the neck was the creepiest moment during the whole investigation, but nothing spooked me more than the loud knocking bang that returned back from the boarded up shed. It felt like there was an irritated spirit there due to us disturbing the dead. Either way, the night was very active around 4 a.m. There was a moment I would like to address where I just got angry when Timothy wanted to continue further investigating right after the knock. I honestly don't know why I got so angry. Rather than excited like he was, I felt almost as if I wasn't myself in that very moment. After it took some time to set up the night vision, which though was very poorly done attempt for footage, it actually managed to get the infamous creature we still have no idea what it was to this day. After we returned for our last trip through the cemetery, we grew more and more paranoid after noises and footsteps were more and more noticeable. Once we sat at the picnic table to listen up for anything else, a loud thud can be heard directly behind me, like a tree branch had broke from the trees and fell on the table behind me. But when I checked, there was nothing that had fallen.
Lastly, we were wrapping up as a sound is heard like a creature was spooked and flees back into the woods. Near the church hall, we then leave as it sounded like no animal we were familiar with.
Though it was a night of fright, it's time to reveal what we decided with the handy spookometer. The score is simple. It can be a 1 out of 5. 1 being not haunted and harmless to 5 being terrifying and dangerous. So, was it haunted? Here are the results. Drum roll please, Timothy. Even with all the compelling evidence and thrills, I have to give it a 3 out of 5, meaning it was a place that was definitely scary and it'll give you chills, but it's mostly harmless.
Mostly.
Mostly.
Drum roll, please. So with the evidence that we gathered of the weird occurrences, of the noises, the loud bang, lights acting weird, etc., I would give it a 2 out of 5.
Wow.
It is a good place for an intense scare, but for me, it was more of the mentality effect it had on me. Ever since we pulled in, you get like bad vibes, confusion, heavy feeling like something is wrong. So it was more, for me, it was more mentality out of physically, so I give it a strong 2.
That's fair, I can see that. And basically wrapping up, guys, you know, the place definitely had its odd moments, but I can't say for sure if it's, you know, a dangerous situation. So if I was to have to compare this to, say, the copper mines felt like if we didn't get out of there, we were going to be harmed.
That was more physical for me.
Exactly, and it was definitely physical for him. And I felt like here, it definitely wanted you to be scared. It seems like it's an ongoing thing. It felt like kind of like a theme park, like it's used to scaring people. So I would have to say it is most likely haunted, but not because of any of the reasons that everyone's saying. I think it's haunted because of everyone constantly disturbing the graves. That is my opinion. Of course, y'all have your own opinion. You get to watch the videos, you can comment there, and comment below whether you think this was haunted or not. And again, I am your host Orion, and this is my co-host Timothy. See y'all next time on Urban Anomalies.